Hello world! Welcome to my tea room, also known as my kitchen. Today I'm going to have a cream tea. Normally you would have this as like an afternoon tea, and it's a little late here for afternoon tea. It's after 7, but once I get everything I needed bought and I got everything together and ready, it's not afternoon anymore. But that's okay, we can watch this anytime and learn. So what is a cream tea? A cream tea means you're having hot tea and scones with Devonshire cream and jam. Hi Donna, I'm playing tea. I'm gonna make scones. So this is something that started in England, and they call it a cream tea, not because you put cream in the tea, but because you have Devonshire cream you put on your scones. So that's what I'm going to make, scones. A lot of people don't know what scones really are. Even people who make them in tea rooms sometimes still don't really know what they are. They make them too sweet. So what is a scone? A scone is really a biscuit, similar to a biscuit, but it's got a little sugar in it. Very little sugar in it. If you put too much sugar in it, you get what Americans think a scone is, and it's not a scone. So I am going to turn this around, and I am going to show you the making of the scones. And you'll find out they're really easy. There we go. Very, very easy. I gotta get this to flip around. Here is my ingredient. Woo! And there's my phone falling off the thing I had it on. Let's put it back. Okay. Stay, phone, stay. Alright, having trouble with the phone. Doesn't want to stay where I'm putting it. Alright, let's try it now. Please stay. I don't know why it's fighting me. I was never doing this before. Alright, come on. Behave yourself. It's wanting to move on me here. I don't trust it to not do it again. Alright, we're going to try it. Every time I do this, it pops off. Alright, quit doing that. Alright, we're going to try it. There is my... there we go. There's my bowl of flour. So it takes 2 cups of flour. So what you do with the flour... Now, a lot of people sift flour. I've learned from watching cooking shows, you don't really have to sift flour unless you're concerned about lumps. What you need to do, though, is flour, once it sits, it packs in. So what you have to do is what they call lighten your flour. You can do this with a, actually real easily. Oh, I don't have one. You can do it with a whisk. Here's a whisk. You can take a whisk and stir your flour. And what that does is it unpacks it. It lightens it up, so you're not getting too much flour in there. You can also just do this with your spoon, your dipper. This is a 1/2 cup measure. And you can just stir it a little bit and then put it in there, and it'll be just lighter weight. And then you take your knife and you level it off. Okay, so then I'm going to put this in here. And I already have a cup and a half of there, so that's my 2 cups of flour to make my scones. Then it asks for only 2 tablespoons of sugar. So that's very little sugar for 2 cups of flour. You don't want the sweetness to come from the sugar. You want the sweetness to come from the jam you're going to put on there later. So this also has 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt mixed in. So you're going to put that in. And then it has a tablespoon of baking powder. I like this one because it's aluminum free. And it also has this nifty little thing to scrape off. So there's your tablespoon of baking powder. Then, this is a pastry blender. If you don't have a pastry blender, you can use a couple of knives to do this too. So what you do is you put that and you stir what you have. Then you're going to cut some butter in there. Now this recipe is called Kensington Palace scones. There's actually a recipe they used in Kensington Palace in England. And it calls for 1/3 cup of shortening and 1/3 cup of butter. But I'm going to put all butter in it because I'm not that crazy about using shortening, because it's hydrogenated oil. So you do not have to use the shortening. Just double the butter if you don't want to use shortening. So that's 2/3 a cup of butter. But if you want the authentic recipe, you can use 1/3 cup of shortening. and 1/3 cup of butter. And then you cut it in with the pastry blender. Now this butter is a little cold, but not ice cold. Usually you want it kind of cold to do this, but you can also chop your butter if it's real cold. Chop it into little chunks and then put it in here. But you basically just have to keep working it until it gets mixed into your flour. Until it gets to be what they say like the size of peas. And so you just do this and then just keep scraping it off here and doing it again. Until you just don't have these gigantic lumps of butter anymore. And it sticks, so you just have to take it off, do it again. Now, the closest thing that we have in America to a scone is our biscuit. But biscuits usually don't have sugar in them at all. Usually. You never know how people adjust recipes. But scones are similar to a biscuit with barely a little bit of sugar. But because America really didn't know what scones were, and this was true of me when I first got married when I was 22, and I got a cookbook was one of my gifts for my wedding, and it had a recipe for scones in there, and I thought, oh, I've heard of scones. I've never had one. I'm going to make it and try it. And I made them and tried it. But the thing is, they didn't tell you how to serve it or what with. They just, here's your recipe of scone. And I tried it, and see, what I was expecting is that a scone I just thought it would be kind of like a muffin or a cake. But I was just thinking more like a muffin. That it would be kind of sweet by itself and wouldn't need icing, wouldn't need anything. No, scones are not sweet. They're just barely have any sugar. And so a traditional British scone, that is. So I made them and I ate one and I went, I'm not very impressed. Well, the reason is because you're supposed to serve them with jam and Devonshire cream, but I did not know. And I think people in America are trying the traditional scones and saying that it's not very sweet. It's like eating a biscuit with nothing on it. Now, if you like biscuits with nothing, that's fine. But no butter, no jam, but they're better. Biscuits are really made to put something on them. Okay, so I'm pretty well done here. See how it's kind of grainy, and you got these little lumps. Those are butter lumps. You want that. So I think what America did is say, we got to make this scone better. So what they did is they added sugar. And like I said, even tea rooms a lot of times do this. It's always disappointing to me. Because that's called an Americanized scone. Not a traditional scone. Traditional ones, when you put the jam and Devonshire cream, they're so much better. When you eat them like you're supposed to. Okay, so then it asks for 1/3 cup of milk, which I have sitting over here. And an egg. I'm going to get this out of the way. So here's my egg. You can break it up in the milk. Throw away the shell. I know I didn't need to tell you that, did I? Okay, this is the cutest little thing. Look at this little whisk. I love these little whisks. You could use a fork, though. I found these in the grocery store one time, these little whisks. They're so tiny. So then you mix that up. Then I'm going to pour it into there. I'm slushing it over here. Okay, so I'm going to pour in. Da, da, da. See, it's very simple. Very similar to biscuits. Now at this point you can just use your hands. A lot of people just do this and mix it up with their hands. Perfectly fine. If you want to do that, it's going to be messy. Just get ready for it to be messy. Now this is what I had my sugar in earlier. Isn't this the most adorable little dish? I have such an obsession with dishes. This is Pioneer Woman. I got this at Walmart, but isn't it cute? It's adorable. I don't know why I'm so fascinated with dishes. But I am. Okay, so you mix this up. Try to get all the moisture in there, and it's going to be doughy like a biscuit dough. So the scones that I have had, that I call the Americanized scones, they decided it needed more flavor, so they dumped sugar in it instead of putting the jam and Devonshire cream on it like they're supposed to. And what they really get is a big fat dry cookie. And it would be something way too sweet to put any jelly on. If you put jelly on an Americanized scone, it's way too sweet. So you're not going to want to do that. And it just, you kind of have to eat it by itself, and you can put Devonshire cream on it, but it's really, you're missing out on the good part. You're really missing out. Okay, so I'm going to put some more flour on here. Stuff is moving by itself over there in my sink. I don't know what it's doing. There you go. Then we're going to put the dough in here. And this is real simple. This is actually the first time I've made it with all butter. We are hoping it works. Just have a nice dough. You're gonna, it says knead it a little bit. This is nothing like kneading something with yeast in it. You don't knead it. That's K-N-E-A-D. And then you just kind of knead it a little bit. It says the last time you fold it over on itself. And you pat it out to about 1/2 inch thick. And I'm losing the flour under here. Now we did just fix that. Pat it out. Try not to let it stick to the counter. See, this is real simple because you don't have to use the mixer at all. There, nice and patted. Then I have this pan. I love this kind of pan. If you're going to make cookies, scones, biscuits, anything, you need this kind of pan. Now, it looks just like a regular sheet pan, right? But this one, I got this at Walmart. It's called an insulated pan. I've also seen them called an air pan. This is called, it's an Echo, as you can see. But this, what it is it has 2 layers. See right here, this little hole? It's got holes in it so it doesn't retain water. It has somewhere to drain out. But it has another layer inside there. It has holes every corner. But it's basically a double layer pan. And what happens is it does not get as hot on the bottom. And so if you have a trouble with cookies that they're black on the bottom by the time you get them done, and you can't seem to manage to fix that, get an insulated pan. And they will never blacken on the bottom. They'll be done on the top and perfect on the bottom. Okay, so then you're going to take you can use a cup or a biscuit cutter. I've lost my biscuit cutter. Oh, here it is. I moved it over here. This is a scalloped, what they call a biscuit cutter. And this, well, you can see what size this is. It's, can almost wrap my fingers around it, not quite. You can use any size you want, depending how big you want your scones. And you take it, now it's this is the important part. Go straight down, do not twist. Everybody wants to twist because they think they're cutting it. You want to make sure they cut it free from the dough. But what happens when you twist, it crimps it tighter. And when it crimps it tighter, it will rise more unevenly. Sometimes they rise a little bit uneven anyway, but it will be really uneven if you twist. No twist. Push straight down, pull straight up. No twist. See, and you don't have to have a scalloped one. You can use a little cup to do this. You don't even have to have a special cutter. You just kind of have to shake it out of the cup. This, see, don't they look just like biscuits? And the oven, my oven is set on 425. This is called a hot oven day. But I have my air conditioner turned down so I don't get too hot. And you just go around, try to fit as many into your space as you can, pressing straight down. But you see, you don't really need to twist. It lifts right out. And even if it doesn't, and you get a little piece hanging on, you just pull that right off. But, you know, if it does cook unevenly, and you twisted it and you couldn't help yourself, it will still be good. It'll still be good, because they don't rise perfectly evenly anyway. This just helps reduce it a little bit, reduce the lifting. Okay, I'm getting to the point now where I'm going to have to redo my dough. So then all you do is, it's just like, you know, if you make cookies or biscuits, you just you don't want to over handle it though to make it tough, but you just pat it out. I'm trying not to run out of room here. I'm going to put them a little closer together. Now if they do end up touching each other in the oven, it's not going to hurt anything. I'm just going to go ahead and do a couple of them. So you can put them right next to each other to bake. You can put them separate to bake. It kind of is not going to matter. Now you can take your scones, if you were taking your dough, and you can pat it out into a big circle. Now it's not a big circle now because I've used it up. Pretend it's a big circle, and then you can just cut it into pie wedges if you want to. And it's perfectly fine like that. They even make some little pans that you can bake scones in if you want to, but they're not necessary. Now here at the end, I take this dough because I want them to look the same, and I put him inside there and press him in shape. You can just, whatever little dough you're left with, you'll just have a little odd shaped scone if you want to too, but I like to try to make them, if they're going to be pretty, let's make them all pretty. Okay, so there we go. And it's not going to matter that it's a little lumpier. Okay, look. Perfectly on my sheet pan, my giant sheet pan. As you see, that made 15 scones, cutting them that thickness and that size. Hi, Michelle. I'm making scones. Scones and tea. Okay. Now you can brush this with an egg wash or some milk on top. It'll brown it a little more, but you don't have to do that. And I'm just going to put them straight in the oven. Here's my oven. You can sort of see. I've already got it on. I'm going to put them in. Woo! Yeah, boy, it's hot in there. Okay, so it takes, let me look at my recipe again. To 15 minutes that takes. Okay, so I'm going to set it at 12 minutes and we're going to check it. There we are. Now I've got quite a little mess here that I'm going to clean up. I don't know why my phone has suddenly decided to fight me on this. There we go. Okay, I'm going to put you back up here, phone. Now you behave yourself. There we go. Stay up there, please. There we go. Now, then I'm going to make some tea to go with it. I'm trying to clean up this mess a little bit. The one thing about it is it does make a little bit of a mess on your counter. But you know, the best things in life are messy, I guess. Getting it on my bracelet. Okay, let's throw it in the trash. Okay, so then, that's most of it there. Okay, so, let's talk about the Devonshire cream and jam and scones. So I've sort of told you what scones were. Slightly sweetened biscuit. If you get one in a tea room that is incredibly sweet and doesn't need jam on it, that's an Americanized idea. I always find that too dry. You need the jelly on it. Oh, my little thing is going off. Okay, it's on the right one. It's wanting to not have a good connection. All right, let's behave yourself, phone. Okay, so the if you get an extra sweet one, that's an Americanized version. If you put jelly on it, it's going to be way too sweet. And if you like those, that's fine, but you're not really, honestly, not really eating a scone. You're eating a big, fat, dry cookie. And that's okay, but they're just not as good. That's the whole thing. They're just not as good. So, in England, where these were invented, what they use is the Devonshire cream is really in place of butter. And jam, of course, is another form of jelly. Now, in America, we have jelly, which is generally a clear, it's like the clear juice of the fruit, and it's usually very pure and clear looking. Jam is usually a more cloudier, a little bit thicker version. And then we have preserves, which have the chunks of fruit in it. And then they have other things like whole fruit, and they probably have other kinds too now. But those are generally the three. In England, they do not call what we call jelly, they don't call it jelly. If you ask them for jelly, they're going to bring you jello, or gelatin, a gelatin mold, jello. That's what they call jelly. So they don't put Jello on their scones or on anything. So if you say I want jelly, they're going to think, why do you want that? They call it all jammed. I don't know if they use the word preserves or not, but they don't have jelly and jam. They have jam. And I have, today I've got some strawberry jam. This is just Publix brand, but you can get a nice fancy brand if you want to. Any kind. Traditionally, they usually use strawberry or raspberry jam. And again, you can use whatever you like. I do like strawberry. I like raspberry as long as it doesn't have seeds. But I just love strawberry. And this is jam. I just like it because it's a little smoother. Devonshire cream. What is Devonshire cream? Well, this is Devonshire cream. But this is a jar of Devonshire cream. Now, the first time I found out what this was, I was reading about it, because I read all these books about tea. It said you cannot make Devonshire cream in America. And I thought, what do you mean I can't make it? Why can't I make it? You telling me I can't make it in America? Why can't I make Devonshire cream in America? That just really like, huh? What are you telling me I can't make it? Well, I had to figure out why. Why can't I make it in America? Nobody in America? Why can we not make it? So I researched that, of course, just looked that up online. Devonshire cream, true, authentic Devonshire cream, is made with unhomogenized milk. And you cannot legally buy unhomogenized milk commercially in America. Now, I have heard people that say they live near a dairy and they can go there and get fresh milk, or they can get, but they're just kind of going and buying it individually. They're not selling it to the supermarkets that way, from what I understand. Legally, milk sold in America in a commercial store has to be pasteurized, ultra homogenized. It all has to be that. And you cannot make Devonshire cream with it, because how they make Devonshire cream, and this would have been from the old days when they used to deliver milk to people, which my mother remembers very well. The milkman would bring the milk to your door in the glass jars. And she said they had some that had a little cup on the top of the jar, was molded into the bottles, not a jar, into the bottle. And the cream would rise to the top into this little molded cup, and then they would pour off the cream. So the milk separated, of course. Even when I was a kid, I remember we'd get the jug of milk before we used it and shake it. You don't have to shake it anymore because it doesn't separate much, but I still shake it because I remember doing that when I was a kid. Take milk and shake it. But what they do in Devonshire, England, is they take the milk fresh from the cow and they put it in these big vats where they warm it, and it has to be done at a certain temperature, they can just barely warm it. You don't speed it up to the heat. You have to gradually warm it. It only can go to a certain temperature, and it causes the cream, which the cream rises to the top. I think they rise it to the top and put only the cream in there. And then it clots, meaning it thickens. It thickens up. Devonshire cream is really similar to the consistency of butter. It's not yellow like butter. Some of it can have it's not usually pure white, it's like an off-white. And some of it does have almost a creamy yellow tinge to it, but it's not as yellow as butter. But it's made from cream of the milk like butter. It's just heated, gradually heated. And because milk will not separate, the cream will not separate from milk when it's been ultra-pasteurized, when it's been homogenized. It will not separate anymore. You can't make it in America. That's why you can't make it in America. You can't get that. But even if you could make it here fresh, it would not be the same, because in Devonshire, England, they say they have some of the richest soil that there is, and the cows are eating the grass grown in this soil, and they produce some of the richest milk of any cows, these cows in Devonshire, England. And so they're taking it and making this Devonshire cream. So you really can't get anything richer than this from what I've heard. So I've not ever been to England. I have heard that if you go to England, in Devonshire, England, and you have the Devonshire cream fresh there, they say it is the most fantastic Devonshire cream you've ever had, but I haven't ever been to England, so I don't know. But we can get it in a jar here, and this just has in it the ingredients: pasteurized cream. Now this pasteurized is not homogenized. Pasteurized cream, and it has milk. So sometimes this is actually called double cream. Sometimes it's called Devonshire cream. Sometimes it's called clotted cream. And it's all very similar. I've heard that some of them actually have a little of the milk in it. And some of them, I forget which one's which. Like clotted cream, one of them has a little milk in it. One of them is made from all cream. But they're very, very, very similar, I think. At least for us, our American palates. We don't know much about it. So this is some Devonshire cream. Now this Devonshire cream, this has 6 ounces in here. And it says on this jar that you must eat it within 5 days of opening. This is why I don't get this very often. I cannot eat this jar in 5 days. I mean, I guess I could, but whew, no. So you need some company if you're going to have this. And so probably what I'm going to do since I bought it is I'm probably going to take it to work, because I have some girls there that like to have tea, and I make tea at work and then share it. And so I'm probably going to take these scones that are left over, and I'm going to take this Devonshire cream and jam, and we're going to have it for snacks at work, and they're going to love me. So I have the Devonshire cream that I bought, and it's, like I said, it's similar to butter. So I'm going to make, how much time we have here? We got 4 minutes, so I'm going to make tea now. And I'm going to put this over here where you can see, like I normally do. Okay, here's my tea kettle. And I'm going to put water in here. I'm going to make about 3 cups of tea for myself. Tea is, it's so relaxing to have this. I'm going to put it where you can see it. Then I'm going to, this is my electric kettle. It's ceramic. It doesn't have any plastic in it, so you don't have to worry about any chemicals leaching from your plastic. And here is my plate that I collect these little plates. And there's my plate. Here's my teacup. I got this in Arcadia in a tea room, not a tea room, an antique store. I showed you my jam and Devonshire cream. Let me show you this. This is my sugar. This is Demerara sugar in cubes. And I wanted to show you how that comes in case you ever want to think you might want to buy it. It looks like this, the one I buy. This I get at Fresh Market. I haven't seen this in the grocery stores, although I used to find it in Sweet Bay because they had a little bit bigger international thing. Also the Devonshire cream. I can't find the Devonshire cream in grocery stores here either, although I used to. I used to find that in Sweet Bay, but there's no more Sweet Bay. So I get this and the Devonshire cream. I can find that in the Fresh Market here in Fort Myers. And you may have a grocery store near you that also has it. So that's getting ready to boil, and I'm going to get my teapot. I've had the teapot over here on the sink, in the sink, and I've had real hot water, just hot tap water, poured in my teapot so it will prepare my teapot for the hot water. And what this does, let's see if we can just do that. Yeah, let's try that. What this does is when you pour the boiling water in there, it doesn't cool it down as fast, so it brews it better. And today, I'm just going to use this tea. This is tea that I also got at Fresh Market. You can find this in other stores. This is called the Republic of Tea. This one is blackberry sage. Now, I had a tea one time that was blackberry sage and lavender. And this is just blackberry sage. You wouldn't think, oh, it's so good. But this is tea bags, these little tea bags like this. So I'm going to put a couple in this teapot. But I really loved the lavender that I used to have. So look what I've got. I found this in Melbourne, Florida years ago. The Melwood Creek, I don't even know if this still exists, Melwood Creek Company. See what this is? It's lavender. What this is culinary grade lavender buds. And you can put these in scones. You can make lavender scones. You can make cookies. I've made this put these little buds in a cake. They're really good, actually. So I'm going to take some of these lavender buds. And I don't want a whole lot, but I'm going to take a few. Look at them. They're little flower buds from the lavender. And you can smell this. Oh, they smell so good. And you can brew this in tea. You can find some teas that already has it in there. But if not, you can buy it. Oh, there's my oven. Let me check that real quick. And see what our scones look like. They look like they could maybe go, oh, barely more. Let's go 1 minute. We'll check it in 1 minute. Okay, so I have put these little lavender buds in the bottom of this because I don't want to just leave them in there. Now this tea thing doesn't fit in here very well, but I'm going to do my best with it. I'm going to move aside those tea bags. And I'm going to put this to float in here. I could put the tea bags in there, but I'm not going to. Then here is my tea kettle with the hot water that I'm going to pour in here. And you just brew these lavender buds with your tea. Just the same as the tea. Now you could put them loose in the pot, like I said, but I just don't want to have to concerned about getting them back out of there. You can eat them, even. You could drink them straight. They're not going to hurt you. but I don't want them. I don't want to drink them. So I'm going to kind of put that there to keep the steam down. Now that's going to take 3 to 5 minutes. I always do 3 myself because I don't like it real strong. So this is going to be here again in a minute. And I'm going to show you, yep, there it goes, in a second, not a minute. So that's going to sit, and I'm going to move you over here to the oven. And pay no attention to that on the oven. And then I'm going to take these scones out of here, and they're lightly browned. Oh, wow. Don't they look good? All right, turn off this horribly hot oven. But it's like they cook at a very high temperature, 425. So they brown very nicely. So you see, I don't really feel you need to put a wash on them, like a milk or egg wash. You could, but you don't have to. And see, they never, even if you cut them straight, they still don't completely puff up evenly. But look at this. All right. See how that's browned? Look at this bottom. Oh, not burned. Not even, it's not cooked any more than the rest. This pan, you got to have this pan. Perfectly browned on the bottom and the top all around. All around. There's another one. Oh, yeah. And it's fiery hot. But see, there's the bottom. There's the top. Love. Love, love, love this pan. Now, there's just nothing better than a warm scone from the oven. Oh, my goodness. You know, you can eat them room temperature, of course. You don't have to have that. I am putting them on this little rack right here. Because I don't want them to keep cooking. They'll keep cooking if you leave them on the hot pan. And I also, now that's my little sad one there. Look at him. That was my last one. But you know what? It's going to taste the same as the others. But he's not the most perfect little one. But he's still going to be tasty. But I did not put any butter on this pan. Now this is actually a non-stick pan to a certain degree. But you don't need any butter because the scones have so much butter in them. If you're cooking something with a lot of butter in it, you don't usually have to put butter. Because see, watch. See it? Here, I haven't touched that one yet. See it? They don't stick. If it sticks, it's the barest little bit of bare sticking, you know, you just pick it right up. So, here's another one. Watch. Perfect bottom. Oh, yeah. I don't want to use... Hi, Cassie. Cassie, I'm making scones and tea today. I got your samples ready for Lime Life, but I didn't make it in time to the post office today, but I'm going to mail it to you Monday. Okay, there we go. Look. Oh, goodness, those are so good. This is one of my favorite things. And so, when you have something called a cream tea, what that means is you're having tea. Oh, look, it's time. The tea is done. And that means you're having tea with scones. That's it. Oh, nothing else, just tea and scones. And they call it a cream tea because scones are supposed to come with Devonshire cream. Now, I'm going to take all this out. Somehow I have a little puddle of water over here. I'm going to take, it's going to be hot. Yeah. These are my little lavender buds in here. I'm going to get rid of those. Just going to put that in the sink. Then I'm going to pull out my tea bags that are in here. So you can, see, you can do anything. Use loose tea, you can mix things. Here's my 2 tea bags. Now what I do with these is I don't want them to drip all over. So I take my lid and hold it under like this so it'll drip in the lid. And then I go toss these out. Then I come back and I'm going to actually stir it a little bit. Make sure it all gets distributed evenly. Put on my lid. There is the tea. Now, in talking about Devonshire cream, some people in some tea rooms, if they don't serve you the authentic Devonshire cream, and it's more expensive for them to get this, they will serve what is called mock Devonshire cream. Meaning, we can't make it in America, and we're not going to buy it in a jar, so we're going to give you a fake. And I'm okay with that, actually. I don't care if it's mock Devonshire cream. So what is mock Devonshire cream? Well, it can be a lot of things. Usually what it is whipped cream. And usually you make the whipped cream fresh. And you can use just whipped cream. But usually, because Devonshire cream is actually thicker than whipped cream, like I said, it's closer to the consistency of butter. So a lot of times what they do is they add stuff to the whipped cream. So they'll make whipped cream and it's sweetened well, you don't have to sweeten. You know, Devonshire cream is not sweetened. Sometimes they sweeten the whipped cream a little bit. So what they do is they'll add something to it to make it thicker. Some people add a little sour cream, but that will give it a sour cream taste. So it'll just taste a little different, but it's not bad. Some people put a little tiny bit of cream cheese in it. And some people, and I haven't tried this one, but I've heard it's the best mock option, is if you mix the whipped cream with a little mascarpone cheese. Mascarpone cheese is similar to cream cheese, only it's it's like an Italian cream cheese. And I've heard that it's better because it doesn't, cream cheese has a little bit of a flavor, and sour cream has a little bit of a flavor, and I don't know that mascarpone cheese either has no flavor or very little flavor. And Devonshire cream, really, it has no flavor. What it is it's not similar to unsalted butter. If you get unsalted butter, it's just real creamy and rich, but it doesn't have a real strong flavor. Devonshire cream doesn't have much flavor. It just has rich creaminess. And so I will eat mock Devonshire cream if that's what is served. I do prefer the real, but the mock Devonshire creams are acceptable. So what you would do is whip your cream, and then you can just use that as is, but it's really, really, really light, and this is a heavier, creamier thing. So you can, if you're going to add a little sour cream or a little softened cream cheese or a little softened mascarpone cheese, you would just kind of fold that into your whipped cream very lightly. And probably, something like half and half, or 2/3 whipped cream and 1/3 of the other item. But you can't beat this. So I'm going to open this jar and show you what this looks like. See, it's not white. This is white. This cup. So it's actually a ivory off-white cream color. And as you see, it's real, it's thick. That was just a little drop of water. It'll separate a little bit. But you see, yeah, it's thick. But it's like I said, similar to butter. I'm going to clean up that little mess. Okay, so what I'm going to do with one of these scones, let me show you how to, well, first I'm going to pour my tea, because I'm going to have my tea ready. So here's my tea. Now, there's two things I want to tell you that are big controversies. Did you know tea has big controversies? We don't have controversies with tea in America because we just weren't that big into tea, but apparently in England they have big controversies. One of the controversies is the order you put on your Devonshire cream versus your jam. There are some people that say when you have your scone, you put on the jam first and the Devonshire cream on top. There are other people that insist, no, you put the Devonshire cream on first and then the jam on top. People apparently feel very strongly about this. Kind of going to taste the same either way. I've heard that the most common opinion is that you put the jam on first and then the Devonshire cream on top, because you don't want to kind of smash, you want your Devonshire cream to be a little fluffy. You don't want to smash it, you don't want to deflate it. So, but there are people who say, well, if you're using this in place of butter, if you were buttering a biscuit, you put the butter on first and then the jam. So they like it the other way. As I said, it's going to taste the same. But I prefer to put the jam on first and then the Devonshire cream on top, because then you don't deflate that at all. The other controversy has to do with the tea. And that controversy is, what do you put in first? Your milk and sugar or your tea? Well, I've heard both opinions about this. Some people say that you should put in your milk and or sugar, whichever ones you're using. You should put that in first, because then when you pour your tea in, it will start mixing. Also, sugar, these little sugar cubes, if you add them after, you got to be careful you don't splash them. If you drop them from too high, it'll splash. But then there's the other thing that says, no, you pour your tea first, and then you add your milk and sugar. And there's actually a little thing that says in England that the upper class say that only the lower class people put the milk in first. That would include sugar too, I guess. Milk in first. only governesses put their milk in first. That's what I read. You know, they look down on the governesses a little bit, apparently. And they think, no, no, no. You must put in the tea first. Well, I don't know. You can do what you want. I'm going to light my little tea warmer right here for my teapot. I'll put my teapot on there. So I am going to add my tea. The other thing is, I do it both ways actually. So I'm going to do it this way today. I'm going to do my tea first, and then I'm going to add my sugar, and I don't use milk. You don't want to use actual cream in your tea because they say it's too strong for tea and it will overpower the taste of your tea. So if you are going to put something in tea, you want milk. I prefer it with just sugar. So this is my blackberry sage with added lavender. Now, if you don't want the sugar cube to splash or to reduce it after you've put your tea in, put it to the edge and let it slide down the edge of your cup, and it will reduce that little bloop of splash that can pop up. Sometimes it might still splash a little, but it will be barely. Okay, then I'm going to let those sit there for a minute because they'll dissolve. While I do that, I'm going to show how I do the scone. Now, there is one etiquette thing about eating a scone that everybody agrees on, and that is you do not take your jam and your Devonshire cream and just slather it over the whole thing and then eat it. You shouldn't do that with butter either. If you're eating a biscuit, you're not supposed to, in real proper etiquette, take and just spread it over the whole thing. You're supposed to put you a pat of butter here on your plate, pick up a little bit, butter one bite, and then bite that bite, and then take a butter and butter another bite, and then bite that bite. That's how you're really supposed to do it. Now for a scone, you want to split your scone. You can either use your knife, or you can, see how it has layers? You can split it, and it will usually just kind of split easily in two. Split it in two. Oh yeah, look at that. Then I'm going to take, where'd my other spoon go? I'll use my knife. So I'm going to take some jam. So this is, you do this similarly with this. You take your jam and you put some on your plate, not on the scone, on your plate. And yep, you're going to just have to guess how much you think you're going to need. You can come back for more. And then you take some Devonshire cream. See, look how thick this is. Look what it's doing. It splits. Look at that. Oh, oh, oh. Yeah. See how thick that is. This is why whipped cream is really nothing like whipped cream. Look at this. It is like butter. Then you're going to put that there. All right, let's see how much of that we can eat in 5 days. That's why I said I'm going to share it. Then, I'm going to put it in the refrigerator because it does have to be kept refrigerated just like butter does. Then I'm going to take my tea and I'm going to stir my tea because I've got the sugar in pretty well melted in there now. Okay. Now I'm going to flip my phone around. There we are. Hello again. Okay, I'm going to try to get this how I want it. Okay, then here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a half of my little scone, and I am going to put some jam on it. See? Put a little jam. See, just enough for you to bite. A little part. Don't slather it on the whole thing, even though it's half. No, no, no. This is the proper way. I don't know why, but I just take delight in doing things the right way. I don't know why. It's just my personality. Then you put a little Devonshire cream on top. If I find out that I've been doing something the wrong way, oh, I just can't hardly stand it. You mean I've been doing that wrong my whole life? Oh! I'll fix it then. Then you put a little bit. It's kind of on top beside. Then you take a bite of just that. Oh, yeah. It's so good. You don't need more sugar in that scone because the jam is very sweet. So you can adjust how sweet you want your scone by how much jam you put on it. So if you want, oh, I don't want a lot of sugar. I don't want it very sweet. Put very little jam. Or you can even get the whole fruit, you know, the whole fruit that doesn't have sugar added. But You can adjust it by how much you put on. You can also adjust how much fat you want on it by how much Devonshire cream you put. And then let's try this tea. Oh yeah, with that lavender in there, that's very similar to that tea I had a long time ago. That's all that blackberry sage needed, was a little touch of lavender. Lavender, what it is, it tastes very floral. But do be careful you don't get too much lavender. I think I put about a half a teaspoon in that teapot for 3 cups. If you get too much lavender, you're going to taste like you're drinking soap or perfume. To me, I have the same problem with almond flavoring. If you get too much almond flavoring in something, it tastes like Jergens hand lotion, because that smells like the original one, smell like almonds. Or it tastes like soap, or it tastes like, yeah, it's perfume. It's too strong. So almond flavoring is another thing. You barely can put any almond flavoring in it. To me, that's the same with lavender. It is fantastic if you just have a little bit, just like almond. But if you get too much, it'll overpower. So that was a pretty good amount right there. And I was guessing. That is really good. Okay, so here, let me show you one more time. Oh, my yummy little scone. There is my strawberry jam. And then I am going to pick up my little Devonshire cream, and I'm going to put it on top. And then I'm going to take a bite. This is much better to me than the kind of American adulterated scone where they said it doesn't taste good by itself. Not supposed to be eaten by itself. Yeah, it doesn't taste good by itself. Just like a biscuit's better with jam on it. Now, if you like it by itself, because you really don't want anything sweet, go ahead and eat it by itself. Try it with jam and Devonshire cream, though. You will be hooked. Okay, I'm going to enjoy my little scone. And I'm going to go get some things done around my house. And tomorrow I will be in the afternoon, either in the late afternoon or early evening. I will be doing another testimony and some singing at the piano. And so I hope you tune in. Please share my video. Share this video, because I know there are a lot of people who love tea and are learning about tea. So share my videos and tap my nose and hit follow. And that way you'll get notified when I do any kind of videos if you'd like to watch. And I hope you enjoy what I'm doing. I'm having an awful lot of fun doing it. And so all of you have a good Saturday evening, and I will see you Sunday. Good night.